My screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, good afternoon, students. Today we are dealing with again the module 1. As I told you, the first half we have done the overview of Java. Okay. So, I have told you various things regarding control statements, simple Java programs taking input from the user, printing the statements onto the console. And we have also seen the various tokens of the Java programming language and the various Java class libraries also, which we had seen in the last class. Today is the second half of our module 1. We are dealing with data types, variables, and arrays. So probably we'll complete today data types. In the next two classes, variables and the arrays. Okay. So before we go for the agenda of today's class, let me give you the recap of what I had done in the last class. I had told you about the various tokens and the lexical issues that may raise, if at all, if you do not use the tokens properly, and the Java class libraries. The agenda of today's class, as I told you, we are dealing with the second half, data types, variables, and the arrays. So before we go for data types in today's class, let me first tell you or justify why do we call Java as a strongly typed language. Then moving on to the data types. So when I talk about data types, so we have certain types of data types, which you all know again, integers, floating point types, characters, and Boolean. These are the four main classes when we talk about the data types. These are the four main classes which you should know. With respect to the primitive data types, these are the four main data types which are used in the any programming language. So integer, floating, characters, and the Boolean. Okay. So before we go for the data types, remember Java has got several features, out of which I will be dealing one feature at a time, and then at the end, the consolidated one I will deal. Okay. So before we go for the primitive data types, let me tell you why Java is known as strongly typed language. So this is one of the question asked. Justify. How do I justify? Very simple. We call it as a strongly typed language. The reason why it is called as a strongly typed language is the name only indicates strongly typed. Means to say that every variable, every expressions, okay, every function calls or the method calls we talk about, it checks for the type. So for example, if I declare integer, I cannot store floating point value into it. No, that's not possible, right? Suppose I have two integer parameters in my method, I cannot pass character values. That's not possible. So I cannot mismatch it. Try to understand. That's the reason it is called as a strongly typed language. So it will check each and every type with respect to the variable or with respect to the expression, with respect to the methods. Okay. So because of this reason, one of the Java property, that is Java feature, safety and robustness is occurred. Okay. So we can tell our Java is more secure language and robust language. Reason because each and every variable expression should be declared with a data type. There is no what do you tell excuse from declaring. Without declaring you cannot use it. That's not possible. So features of Java, when I talk about, it is simple, object oriented, robust, and secure. You can see it is robust and secure. Okay. And today's class I'll also deal with another feature called as portability and system independence. So we'll see what are these two. Okay. Portability and system independence. So remember, so if I have to justify, how do I justify? Very simple. As I told, every variable has a type. Every variable that you declare, that you use in your program, should have a type. Every expression has a type. What do you mean by every expression has a type? It's very simple. When an expression is given, it is evaluated to one particular data type. Isn't it? Suppose I give like this, is 10 less than 15. Is it evaluated to what value, students? Can you someone tell me? It's evaluated to what? What data type? Students, is 10 less than 15, when I tell, it is evaluated to what data type? Can you all hear me?
True.
True. What data type is that?
Boolean literals.
Boolean data type. What data type is that?
Boolean literals.
Boolean data type, isn't it? So every expression has a type, and every type that I am just talking about is strictly defined. So when I tell Boolean, so you all know that Boolean has how many values? How many values?
Two values.
Values, true and false. It cannot take more than two. So we cannot store none, or we cannot store all, anything. So it can store only true and false. Okay, and all assignments that you make, okay, so all assignments, whether explicit or via parameter passing in method calls, all will be checked for type compatibility. What I mean by this is, all assignments, suppose I declare x as say integer, okay, and I give value like this, 12.0 plus okay, something 5.0. Is this possible? Can I assign? Is it possible when int is, sorry, x is declared as int?
No,
No,
ma'am.
no, it is not possible. All assignments will be checked whether you are giving the appropriate value. Okay, and even with parameter passing. So when I pass parameters during my method calls, they are also checked for type compatibility. Yes. And remember, in Java, as we have in some other languages, there won't be any type conversions automatic. Automatic type conversions is not allowed in Java, wherein it is mandatory for you to give proper, what do you tell, assignments or proper values. Okay. And definitely the Java compiler here will take care of checking all the expressions and the parameters to ensure that the types are compatible. So when I write like this, it checks whether the since LHS is integer, it checks whether RHS is also an integer. It will check and then proceed. If at all there are any errors, as I mean, if there are any type mismatch, as I told you, errors will be encountered, which must be corrected. Otherwise, you will not get the required output, as I told you. So errors has to be debugged. Okay. So in your exam, this was asked for 4 marks. So you have to give all this which I have given in the slide. So strongly typed language means every variable should have a type, every expression has a type, and every type is strictly defined. So we will see what is this in the further slides. Okay. So when I talk about an example, as I told you, try giving examples for anything that you write. Now, I have declared one data type, sorry, one variable whose name is has data type. Okay, is a Boolean data type. So how do I declare it? Very simple. Has data type, and the data type here is now Boolean. So I declare it to be as a Boolean. I cannot use this variable without declaring. No, that's not possible. And remember, has data type, which is a variable, can take how many values? Very simple. How many values can it take? How many values? Two values, which is true and false. Yes, it can take only two values, that is true and false. And you can now see the variable cannot start of life without knowing the range of values it can hold. Means to say, a variable cannot start its life without knowing to what data type it belongs to. Right? Has data type, if I have to use, I should declare it first. Once it is declared, only I can use it. Okay. And once it is declared, the data type of the variable cannot change. Very simple, that you all know. So you cannot change this to some other data type. So it's declared, it will be used. Right? That's how it is. So small example which I have just given here. And you all know that the rest of its life, once the variable is declared, as I told you, it can take only two values. One is true, the other one is false. You cannot take any other values. Okay, that's how it is a strongly typed language. Okay, so as I told you, every type is strictly defined. So you should know what is its size, right? You should know what values it can hold. So now you told me Boolean holds true and false. So if I ask you int, you don't know. So you have to know all those things. So we will see that. So when I talk about the primitive data types, there are 8 primitive data types. Remember, when I talk about data types, there are 2 types of data types, primitive and non-primitive. Okay, right now we are dealing with primitive, non-primitive we will see later. So there are 8, you can just see. You all know int, character, float, double, boolean. So along with this, we have byte, short, long. Okay, 8. So remember. So we can put this into 4 groups. One is integers, one is floating point numbers, one is characters, the other one is boolean. So 8 data types is divided into 4 groups. That's all. When I talk about integers, I have the data types byte, short, int, and long. Okay. Can anybody just guess what is the difference between int and long? Any idea? Any idea you have? Is there any difference or both are the same? Int and long. Any difference that you know, students? Can you hear me? Students? Can you difference int and long? If you know, you tell yes, otherwise no. So we will discuss. Yes or no? Students?
Don't know, ma'am.
Minus?
Don't know, ma'am.
Oh, okay, fine. This difference is quite very simple. Int holds a range of values. Okay, we'll see what range of values. Suppose integer to hold more than the range of int, then we go for long. It is like, see, int is a small container, long is a big container. You're understanding something like that. We'll see with example, you will know more better. So less than int is short. Okay, less than short byte. The values it will hold, range of values is lesser. I'm just giving you an example. See, if int is holding 1 to 100, it hold only how many values? 100 values, 1 to 100. If I want to store 201, I cannot store int. So I should go for long. Are you understanding? Okay. So to hold huge range of values, I'll go for long integer. We'll see the example. Don't worry. So like this, we have 4 data types for integers: byte, short, int, long. So these data types are whole numbers. So whole value, you all know. Whole means they are integers. Okay, whole values. And signed numbers. What do you mean by signed numbers? It contains both positive and negative. So signed numbers. So in some of the programming languages, it supports unsigned numbers. What are unsigned numbers? They are only positive. Okay. Whereas here, signed numbers means both and negative number. Floating point numbers, we have float. You all know it represents fractional precision too. Next is character. The character symbols in the character set like letters and numbers. You all know it represents the symbols in the character set. A, B, C, D. Various characters will see that. Boolean special representing true and false. Okay, just remember, we'll see that in further slides. The size, the range of values it can hold. Okay. So you should remember that the Java feature of portability. What does it mean? So we all know that Java is a portable language. You should know that. Why? Because Java programs can be executed on any operating system, and machine. So it is not that you should have the particular operating system. You can execute your Java program on any operating system or any computer without even worrying about the same. The reason because the Java compiler which is there will not generate you the machine code, not give you the machine code. Rather, it will give you a code called as what code, students? What code is this? What code is this? It generates what code in the Java compiler?
Bytecode.
Bytecode. And remember, bytecode is a platform independent code. So it is not dependent on any operating system. No, bytecode is independent code. Okay, wherein this bytecode will be given to a machine called as JVM. So what is this JVM? Can anybody guess? What is this JVM full form? Can anybody guess, students? Okay. Any idea what is J? What is J?
Java virtual machine.
Java virtual machine.
Java. Yes. So Java virtual machine. So it is required for you, whatever operating system you have, you should have its respective machine, Java virtual machine. This bytecode will be taken up by the respective machine, Java virtual machine, which will be operating on the system, operating system. That particular operating system's Java virtual machine will take up the bytecode and execute your program. So remember, the bytecode which the Java compiler generates is the platform independent. So wherein you should have the Java virtual machine for each of the system that you are working about and then execute the program. Okay, so I want Java, since the Java program is a portable one, you cannot have the data types, okay, to have different the sizes dependent on the machine. That's not possible. In some of the programming languages, say for example, in C, it is the data type size are dependent on the machine. If it is 16-bit, it varies. 32-bit, it varies. 64-bit, it varies. But in Java, since it is a portable language, all data types must be strictly defined, must have a strictly defined size and range of values. Why should I have strictly defined size? Because I want it to work on any operating system. So I cannot make sure that it works only on a particular operating system. In any operating system, it has to work. So that's the reason in Java, all the data types that we spoke, that is 8 data types, should have strictly defined size and range of values. Okay. So range of values, it is defined, strictly defined. So it doesn't depend on the machine. It is already defined and kept. You have to just use it. That's it. Similarly, here you can now see in the chart, when I talk about integer, what are the different data types in integer class? How many data types are there? How many? How many are data types under integer? Students?
4.
4. So byte, short, int, long. Can you just see what is its size? You can just see byte is 1 byte. As the name indicates, 1 byte. 1 byte is equal to how many bits, students? Any idea?
8 bits.
Bits. Similarly, short is 2 bits. Int is 4 bits. Long is 8 bytes. Int is 4 bytes. Long is 8 bytes. Can you just see? You have to remember this. Okay. So you can say 1 byte means it takes less value. Just little more short. Little more range of values. More range of values, int. More range of values, long. Okay. Remember. And this is fixed. Try to understand, it is fixed. Why it is fixed? Because Java is a portable language. It has to be executed on any machine without any problem. That's the reason it is fixed. Under float, you have two, float and double. Float is 4, double is 8. Under character, you have character, which is made up of 2 byte. 2 byte, remember. Okay. I'll again ask, you should tell me, character is made up of 2 byte. Boolean, you all know it is 1 byte, just 1 byte actually, not more than that. So bool takes 1 byte, Boolean value. And you can see example, how to declare, I have just given here. You can just see that. Is that clear, students? Yes. Now, size you saw. Next, we will see range of values it can hold. Range of values. So you should remember this. Very simple. Byte 1, short is 2, int is 4. Long is how much? Long is how much?
8 bytes.
Bytes. Okay. Float, you know, float 4 bytes, double 8 bytes. Okay. Character is 2 bytes and bool is 1 byte. So you should remember this. Okay. Now we will see in depth about the all the 4 classes of data types. When I talk about integer, we have only 4. As I told you, it will hold only whole value numbers which are signed numbers. So remember, signed means both positive and negative. Signed means both positive and negative. And remember, Java does not support unsigned, as I told you. Unsigned means what? What integers, students? Only what integers? Unsigned
Positive.
means positive. It does not support. The Java doesn't scratch head for this. It will take signed, both positive and negative. And I have just given the examples here. How to declare the various data types of integers. You can just use byte here. Byte, short, okay, int, long. Simple letters. They are all predefined keywords. So you do not have to worry about it. Okay. Next, as I told you, the range of values you should remember. So you should know the range of values your integer type takes. Okay. I'll move from lowest to the highest. Byte takes how many byte? What is the size it takes? How many byte? How many bytes?
Byte.
1 byte. 1 byte is how many bits, students?
8 bits.
8 bits. So width I have given. Here it is 8 bits. What is that range of value it takes? As you to know, it takes both positive and negative, right? What is the range it holds? Minus 128 to 127. Okay, it can hold the values, the integer values from where to where? Minus 128 to 127. Okay, next question comes, ma'am, how do I remember this? The formula I have just given down. To get the min value, you should use -2 to the power width -1. So how do I get the min value of byte ma? -2 to the power what? What is the width of byte in terms of bits?
8 bits.
8. 8 minus 1 is how much? 8 minus 1 is how much?
7.
7. Minus 2 to the power 7 is how much? Minus 120. 128. You can calculate this. You can calculate this. This is your answer. Similarly, 2 to the power with minus 1, max value -1. So it is 128. Students, hope you can take down this. -1, that is 120. So this is how you should, in the exam, you have to write this. If they ask you, okay, you have to write this. So this is the formula which you should remember. Anyways, you will have calci. You can easily write it. Similarly, for short, it is taking how many bytes, students? Bytes. How many bytes? Short takes how many bytes?
2 bytes.
2 bytes. 2 bytes is equal to how many bits?
16 bits.
16. So the max and the min value you can see there, -32768 to 32767. So you can remember when you declare any short, it can take only these range of values. Suppose I have to give 40,000. Can I use short? If I have to store 40,000, can I use short?
No, ma'am.
No. Then I should go for int, remember. And similarly, int is of how many bytes? Quickly.
4.
4. So how many bits? 4 into 8, which is 32. And this is the min value and the max value. So remember, if you cannot remember this, I understand, but you should remember the formula. In the exam, you have to write. If they ask you, explain the primitive data types, then you have to write all these things. Okay. Long, how many bytes, ma? Long.
4.
Long.
8.
8. So that's that max and the min value. Okay. You can just see how many digits are there for int. How many digits? Digits. I think 10 digits. Yes, no? Around 10 digits, which ranges from this value. Okay. And long is how many digits? You can remember this. So check whether your formula is correct or wrong. Okay. How many digits are there?
19.
19 digits, remember. So it can hold an integer made up of 19 digits. This can hold integer made up of 10 digits within this range, whatever I have showed in the slide. Okay. So you have to remember this formula. Remember the formula. At the end, I will ask you. Okay. Width is nothing but number of bits. Remember, number of bits of the respective size. A small example I have just taken. I think example I'll come back later. Okay, I'll come back to this later. I'll deal that later. So next is about the floating point types. Okay. Can anybody tell me floating point type? What are the different data types? What are the different data types? Floating point types. Students. What are the different data types in floating point?
Float and double.
Float and double. Size of it? Size of it?
4 bytes and 8 bytes.
4 bytes and 8 bytes. 1 second here. Yes. We have floating point numbers, which is again 4 bytes and 8 bytes. And as I told you, they are real numbers. They are not integers. They are real numbers wherein we have fractional part also. Okay. So wherever I want expressions giving me fractional part, I should use floating point numbers. I should not use integers. Example, like calculating of square roots, sine value, cosine value, simple interest, anything. Wherever I need real numbers, fractional part I need. So I should make use of floating point numbers. Okay. So as I told you, there are two types. One is float, the other one is uh, double. So float is also called as a single precision value. Okay, because uh, double holds more precise value than float. So as you know, float takes 4 bytes. So it's 32 bits of storage, and double precision, we call it as double precision for double type, which use 64 bits. So again, I told you there's nothing much difference there. Float or double, whatever you take, okay, based on the range of values. Float will store less range of values compared to double. Double will take more range of values. Very simple. So you want more accuracy to be maintained, you go for double. Float, normal value is fine, not a problem. When you go for scientific calculations and all, we go for double. Okay, more precise. I would also mention you something. When you are indicating long values, am I audible? Am I audible, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you are in, representing long values, wherein it is higher than the int value, okay, higher than the int value, so you should suffix it with L, small l or capital L, okay, indicating the long value. Say something like this. Long A equals to 131,009. Okay, fine. This is fine. Why? Because it is within the range. It is within the range of the integer. Suppose in the long, if you have to store more than the integer value. So as I told you, integer take how many digits, ma? How many digits integer will take usually? How many digits integer? I told you in the last table, no? How many
10
digits?
digits.
You can see here, it is more than 10 digits. Try to understand. When you are assigning any value to long, if the constant is bigger than the int range, so you should suffix it with L, like this. You should. Okay. So most of the time we will not take such huge value. So it is actually not there in your syllabus, but as a part of you knowing, you should not tell, Mom, this is wrong. No, it is correct. It is the right way of writing the long value. Okay. So you can follow this, but need not be necessary because we will not go for such huge value. So small values only we will go. So no problem, remember. Okay. Similarly for float and double. Okay. So for float, you suffix with what? Can anybody guess? For float, suffix with what, ma? F or capital F. Similarly for double, it is D or capital D. But still you should know. Okay. Next is an example I am just giving to compute area of circle. Okay. So to compute area of circle, which is better? Taking int values or taking float values or double values?
Float.
Float. Okay. So more precisely, you can either use float or double. For me, I have just used double. So R, the radius is double, area is double, my pi value is also double. So I have initialized I have taken 3 variables, radius, area and pi is initialized to 3.14. See, here you need not have to give the suffix, but it is better you give the suffix if it is a huge value. So here not required. not required. You can use it as it is, no problem. Okay. So I'm creating what object here? S is object of which class, ma? S is object of which class? Object
Scanner.
scanner class. So I have to import which package? Which package? Which class library should I import, students?
Java.util.
Util. So import java.util dot star I used to write. So when I write star, I used to import all the classes, but not required. I wanted only scanner class. So I wrote java.util.scanner. This is also one way of writing the program. Understood? Okay. So I ask the user to enter the radius of circle. So which method should I use for reading double? Any idea? Which method of scanner class should I use? R is equal to
Object dot
OB.
next double.
S dot next double, where D is capital. Remember, you should remember this. As I told you, in the identifiers, I have told you the rules. If there are two words, leaving the first word, the second letter's word, first letter should be a capital one. Right? I'll calculate the area and print the area. It's simple. See, it's not mandatory. You should use double. You could have used int, but radius may be floating point also. It is not always, what do you tell? Always int. And it is like, okay, you give double R, then area int, right? So you will lose the value. No accuracy is found. Better to use double wherever is required. Okay. So as I told you, suffixing, you need not have to do it here, but you know suffixing should be done if I cross the ranges. Okay. Ranges of double. Okay, I think the slide is missed here. Okay, fine. So moving double and the float, that size is missed. I will show you that also next slide. So next, coming on to characters. As I told you, this is the data type used to store characters, and the data type is CHAR. Very simple. So in C and C++, when I talk about character is of 8 bits. 8 bits means how many bytes? 1 byte. But in Java, it is how many bytes? How many bits? How many bytes in Java? In Java, char is of how? What is the size of char?
2 bytes.
2 bytes. So in C, it is 1 byte. Okay. The reason because of this being 2 bytes is it is using Unicode. It is using Unicode. What is this Unicode means? I hope if you remember in C, C was storing only ASCII values. Any character is there, there is a ASCII value. I hope if you remember, what is the ASCII value of capital A and small a? Anybody remembers ASCII value? See, in languages, all the characters will be stored by using a predefined code. Okay, predefined code. ASCII means what? American Standard for Information Interchange, right? American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Okay, so all the characters that you have, A to Z, ampersand, percentage, underscore, space, new line character, all will have a predefined integer value. Okay, if you don't remember, I hope you should remember it now. Capital A is, at least this you should remember. Capital A is 65. Small a is how much, students?
97.
7. I think 0, if I'm not wrong, it is 48. If you know the starting values, the rest you can get it. So you have to remember this. Similarly, underscore, percentage, ampersand, new line, tab, space, everything, every characters, whatever characters you have it on your keyboard, I can tell you, all have a predefined integer value. They all have predefined integer value, and that integer value is called as an ASCII value. But Java doesn't use ASCII value, it uses Unicode. Unicode is similar to ASCII, nothing great there. But what is that speciality is Unicode will define fully international character set found in all human languages. So I can give you some examples like Latin, Greek, Arabic, any language, so many more. I'm just giving you some examples. Okay, so I think Greek, Latin, something like this, alpha, it can store alpha, beta, right? So like this, several characters, it can store any international character. It need not be necessarily only these, right? ASCII will store only these, but this can store any international character set. So ASCII, we have only 256 values. So this is more than that, more than 256. So henceforth, it requires how many bits, ma? 16 bits. So in your exam, they might ask you why character is having 2 bytes. Justify. So you can tell it is because Java uses what? What? To represent characters. It uses what? What is the name given to it?
Unicode.
Unicode. What is Unicode defining? All international character set, which is found in all human languages. Some examples, if you don't remember all these things, few you can give. Latin, Greek, Arabic, you can remember, right? That's the reason it needs 16 bits. Okay. And as I told you, in C, it is 0 to 255. Remember, characters, there is no negative values here. 0 to 255 in C. But here it is 0 to 65,536. So can you guess how many characters it is having? How many characters? Character holds how many characters? How many? 0 to 65536 means how many characters? Students. Count ಹೇಳಿ. 0 to how many characters?
65,537.
7. So it is having 65,037 characters which can hold. Okay, you can imagine. See, our alphabet is only 26. Similarly, Latin, similarly, Greek, similarly, Arabic, similarly, various languages. So it's 65,000 plus. Okay, coming on to Booleans. As I told you, the data type that is used is Boolean. Okay, remember for logical values. So two values are possible under Boolean, true or false. And Booleans values are the return type of all your relational operators, that is greater than, less than, right? And you also know that the control statements, that is your for and if, requires the conditional expression to be of what type? Conditional expression should be of what type? For if and for. It should be of what type, students? Boolean, isn't it? See, when you write if 10 less than 15, obviously 10 less than 15 should be a Boolean one. The result should be a Boolean. Conditional expression should be a Boolean expression, not any other expression. Okay. Example I have given, Boolean flag is equal to true. So it can take only two values, true and false, not anything apart from that. Is it clear, students? Hope you are getting. Students? Yes or no? Yes? Students? I'm audible. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 6-5. Time up, ma'am. Okay. Fine. Yeah. This example I will tell you in the next class, and float range I should give. I will give that in the next class. Pick up one small assignment which I have just posted. I'll post in the WhatsApp group, but still, write a Java program to compute the distance between 2 points. Okay, 2 points means x and y. Point is made up of two coordinates, right? It is x comma y. So you should read 2 points and compute the distance. Let's see how you try to do. The reason why I'm giving this is you should know which data type you should use. Should you use int, which is preferable for reading the point, int or the float? Which is preferable? Float, because it can be float value. Similarly, I have a program given to you. This you have already done in your C laboratory. First one is checking whether the number is prime or not. Okay. The second one is to simulate the simple calculator. Probably you might find difficulty in doing this, but I want these first two programs to be done. Okay. So why I'm giving this? Because you've already learned it. So you can try doing it, prime or not. Here you make use of Boolean value to check whether the number is prime or not. Simulate simple calculator, try doing it. If not, we will discuss. Any questions, students? Any? Quickly, you should answer me. Then only I can leave the class. No queries? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Simple, one or two questions I'll just post. How many data types, primitive data types Java supports? How many?
8.
8. Which are all the integer data types? Yes.
Byte, short, int, long.
Long, short, double, int.
Integer data type? Shreyas? Okay, Shreyas?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, tell me integer data types. Which are all the integer data types?
Byte, short, int, long.
Okay, what is the size of that byte? Quickly.
1 byte.
1 byte. Okay. Mukesh, what is the size of int? Mukesh? No. Size of int? Okay, 4 bytes. Sinchana. Okay. Size of long?
8.
8. Okay, Sunil. Okay. 8 bytes. Good. Okay. Can anybody tell me what is the size of character? Quickly. Size.
2 bytes.
Bytes. Okay. Java uses what to represent characters? What? What is the name?
Unicode. Unicode.
Unicode. So Unicode supports all international characters too. International. So can anybody give me the min and max value of character? You remember? Approximately character min and max. Character, Padmashri. I'm talking about character. 0 to 65,000.
535.
36. Yes, 0 to 65,536. Okay, min and max 0. 0 is min, max is this. Okay. Can anybody remember the formula for calculating the min values of integer and float? Min. Someone can tell me?
minus 2 bar width minus 1.
Minus 2 power width.
Width minus 1.
Okay. What is it width? Width represents what?
Bits.
Number of bits, which is representing the size. Size in terms of bits. What is the I think you someone. What is the max one? Max. Yes.
2 power width minus 1.
2 power width minus 1 minus 1 after that. 2 power width minus 1 then minus 1. Okay. Last question. Does Java support unsigned numbers?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Unsigned numbers. Do we have a data type called as unsigned?
No.
No. Java doesn't support unsigned. It supports only signed, means both positive and negative. Okay. Yes, students. Thank you. I'll post the program. And I think I did not update Google Classroom. I'll shortly update. Yeah, I'll do that today or by tomorrow. Thank you. I want mechanical students to stay back. Others can leave for the day. Thank you, students. Any doubts?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you. Liket. Okay. One more student is there, no? Shreyas, who is the other one? 6 students.
Ma'am, Somesh and Shashwat.
Somesh and Shashwat. Okay. Okay. Are you all understanding, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Any difficulty that you are facing?
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
No, you are understanding, like how all of you have knowledge of programming, or someone is very new to the programming. Is that so?
Nothing like that except Shreyas, ma'am.
Pardon me, Sharad?
Ma'am, all have experience except Shreyas, ma'am.
Except who?
Shreyas.
Except who?
Yes, Shreyas, ma'am.
Shreyas.
Not
Okay,
experienced,
okay.
ma'am, in first year.
No, no, no. Okay.
Like in
first year
PU,
C,
plus, ma'am.
Java. Okay, okay, okay. Sharad. Okay. Mukesh, even you are okay with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because no, I may not be able to interact you as we are doing in our normal classes. So normal classes, and looking at your faces, I can know whether you have understood or not. But here it is not possible. So any difficulty you have, especially, and I don't want making yourself complicated. Okay. Hope if you are not understanding, you can ask me. Okay. ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳಿ, ಇಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಟಾಕ್ ಟು ಮೀ, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್